I did it! I built a Selesyna deck that I would play in the real world, and it's an aristocrat deck. And you might say, but Lee, you must have black to call it an aristocrat deck. And I say to you, the only way a deck needs to earn the label of aristocrats is through the destruction of its own permanents as its primary strategy. Traditionally, this would mean creatures, and yes, this deck does like to see its creatures go to the bin. However, it also likes to destroy a permanent that Selesyna is very well known for: enchantments. Enter Yenna. Yenna Redtooth Regent is a 4/4 for 4, and she is a legendary creature, elf noble, and for 2 and tap you can choose target enchantment you control that doesn't have the same name as another permanent you control. Create a token that's a copy of it, except it isn't legendary. If the token is an aura, untap Yenna Redtooth Regent, then scry 2, activate only as a sorcery. The deck features auras with death triggers and enchantments that give us payoffs for permanents leaving the battlefield that Yenna can clone for us and therefore adds tremendous value, but is not essential. More on those later, but the bedrock of any aristocrat strategy is its sacrifice outlets. Green serves up Devour, as brought to us by Bloodspore, Threnax, Gluttonous Slime, Mycoloth and Skullmulcher. They all sound like members of the first Selesyna Conclave thrash metal band, allowing us to sacrifice any number of creatures to put +1 counters on them as they ETB, with the Bloodspore pumping subsequent entrance to the battlefield with +1 counters equal to the counters he has now amassed. Mycoloth flooding the board with saproling bodies on each of our upkeeps, and Skullmulcher drawing us cards equal to the number of creatures it devoured. Growthhammer All Devouring gives all other creatures, including ours, the option to fight him as they attack, and with that 10/8 body, this is tantamount to running into a big green brick wall and potentially drawing us cards. Scourge of Skoravel has a tap ability to sack other creatures we control to make it bigger based on that sacked creature's toughness. Eldritch Evolution, Evolutionary Leap and Altar of Bone are all themed around a sacrifice to find other creatures, and white gives us Fanatical Devotion, Martyr's Cause and Angelic Purge for regeneration, damage prevention and removal. You'll note, bar Angelic Purge, all these sacrifice outlets are creature based, so let's saddle up creatures destined for the bin with clonable auras courtesy of Yenna. Bequeval and Fruit of the First Tree fill our hand with cards, with the latter providing additional life gain. One with a Kami creates 1/1 spirits when any modified creature dies. This includes those devour creatures who tuck into the assembled populace at the Conclave cookout, as +1/+1 counters are considered modified. A board with enchanted creatures being devoured gets particularly delicious when one with the Kami is on the field, as the deck goes wide with the spirits and tall with the devouring creatures. 2 Patterns of Rebirth on graveyard-bound creatures does a great entwined tooth-and-nail impression, tutoring 2 creatures to the battlefield. I would find one of our creatures that recur others like Twilight Shepherd, or one of our Wincons like Nylea's Colossus that doubles the power of target creatures whenever we cast one of our 24 enchantments, or Celestial Ancient, who pumps the team with +1 counters whenever we do the same. Yenna can also clone enchantments that trigger from permanents leaving the battlefield. 2 Martyr's Bonds might be a bit magical Christmas land, though we are in Ramp Happy Green. We sack a permanent, they sack 2 permanents of the same type. Call for Unity is an anthem that blossoms among all these permanents leaving the field, another Wincon for the sack happy deck. 2 would be dreamy. Other tricky happy permanents to delight in all this conclave carnage include Asmira, Holy Avenger, whose sorrow at the passing of our creatures makes her mighty, Knight of Doves, who releases 1/1 white bird creature tokens when our enchantments hit the bin, and Lulu, Loyal Holophant, who pumps and untaps tap team members and makes them grow when any of our permanents leave the battlefield. The aristocrat's circle of life demands bodies, and here are some creatures who are more than happy to lemming themselves off a cliff to support our aims. Gamekeeper has the option to make an evolutionary leap into whatever creature we have next on the top of our library. Stranglefoot, Geist and Kitchen Finks will both enjoy a short stay in limbo before bounding back to the board through Undying and Persist. Vengevine is just lying really still in our graveyard, waiting for a second creature casting to shout surprise and bounce back with haste. My favourite bounce back creature in this strategy is Old Growth Troll. Comes straight back as an aura which Yenna can clone, giving us twice the ramp and twice the potential for the return of 4/4 trolls. These next 3 aren't coming back, but they flourish in death, with Protean Hulk tutoring us replacement creatures, Whisperwood Elemental bringing a mass manifest trigger, and Voice of Resurgence potentially creating a big body. And those last 2 have triggered effects we can enjoy when they aren't heading for the bin. An aristocrat strategy only works if we are creating lots of tokens because must have more bodies, or if we can recur the fallen. We have a little of the former and we have a lot of the latter. Guardian Scowlord, Luminous Broodmoth, Othelm, Guardian Outcast, Safi, Eric's Daughter, and Twilight Shepherd give us creatures back, and Storm of Souls is mass reanimation with the added bonus of reanimated creatures have flying. We also run 2 recursive enchantments with Gift of Immortality and Angelic Renewal. I like that you could clone Angelic Renewal with Yenna, sack one of them when needed, and then be able to reclone it, as there would only be 1 Angelic Renewal on the field. Round this off with Resurgent Belief and Retether for our enchantments, and we will see cards changing zones all over the shop. Highlights from our ramp package include clonable auras like Utopia Sprawl and Wildgrowth, and Nessian Wanderer, who triggers each time we cast enchantments, finding us lands from the top 3 cards of our library. Highlights from draw, we have Good Boy Spirited Companion, who could be cloned, doesn't have to be non-creature enchantments. Sithis Harvest Hand, because duh. Remember Yenna makes enchantment copies non-legendary, and Femrith Enchantress, who draws cards when enchantments bite the dust. Finally, we have 5 auras that grant protection from harm, hexproof, totem armor, and protection from chosen colours. Clone as required. And there we have it, Selesyna Aristocrats. Depending on your meta, you might like to tweak some of the lists, maybe reduce some of the recur options for a bit more removal, but I'm pretty confident that this deck might be low-key good. Whatever next? Mono black enchantments? Oh wait, I already did that. Thank you for sharing this deck building experiment with me, and if you enjoyed this humble free content, a like and subscribe would mean the world to me. Leave a comment below. What's the best this shouldn't really work in these colours flex that you've pulled off? And don't forget to hit the notification bell for future deck techs and gameplay. Anyhow, thanks for joining me today. This has been MtG Specs, and I've been Lee.